What could possibly be more American than baseball and football? Because you can't call something a World Series if the world doesn't participate. It's hyper-individualism. That's what's most American. Hi, you stumbled across a video in a series that I've dubbed The Accidental American, because at this point, the only things that feel American about me are my passport and my American accent. I did not grow up in the United States. I was born and raised in Germany. My parents were stationed there with the US Army. I lived in what you might call an American bubble designed by the US military. I've always had one foot in American culture and one foot in German culture, and never really fully integrated into either one until my mid-20s to late 20s, and then in my mid-30s to late 30s. So I lived in Germany up until I was 35 years old, and I've lived in the United States now for the last 5 years. This series is really like a documentation, a review about my experience living in the United States as a US citizen for the first time. It is unpacking the feelings, the thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, and overall, this series is really just to explain myself or document the reasoning why I don't see myself living in the United States long term. And this is not to poo-poo on the United States and say it's, you know, the worst place in the world to live. There are many worse places to be. My channel or my YouTube thing is all about the art of living, and it's a broad subject in which I can pull a lot from, because I find life fascinating. And while my life has been not incredibly unique, it's been different, and I do think that I have some value in my life experiences, or just sharing those life experiences, because I don't hear from a lot of people like myself, and so I just want to put it out there. And while I grew up in Germany and it's my home, not legally, but in my heart, this isn't a series to say that Germany is the best place on earth and it's all rainbows, butterflies, and sunshine. Germany has its own sordid past. It has its own issues, just as the United States or anywhere. Nowhere is perfect, and it's up to the individual to decide what they're willing to give and take to live in a country or in a culture. And we all have to decide what a quality of life means to us individually. I just know after 5 years of living in the United States, it's just not for me. And so this is my own perspective, my own opinion. That opinion is based on, yes, the way that I grew up in Germany and how I was raised and all of the things that I experienced and saw. And so that does influence it. But there could be somewhere in the world that is like the most ideal country, town, city, whatever for me. I'm not gonna pretend that like Germany is just like Mecca. It is not. And I can go for days on the issues that I don't care for in Germany. But this video specifically, how, because I'm an American citizen living here for the first time, how culture shocked I am of my own culture, and just kind of giving maybe an American who's never lived outside the United States kind of a perspective of someone closer to their understanding. Like, I went to American schools, I had American friends, I grew up on American media and culture, pop culture, as much as I could get before the internet was a thing. And yeah, and there is a laundry list of things that just don't gel well with me. And if mediocre white men can vote for people based on a vibe, I think that I have the right to live somewhere based on a vibe. And the vibe I get in the United States is one of hyper-individualism, and I am not a fool, and I completely understand that America's culture is one of individualism, and that's dope in theory. People want, you know, they want to be able to go from rags to riches. People want to like let their freak flag fly, or just, you know, free to be whomever they'd like to be, and have autonomy. And that is kind of a touchy subject at the moment, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. It is slipping away as I speak. For some of us, it's already kind of like, you know, gone. Theory of individualism is great, but I'm not so keen on capitalism in this uber consumerism type atmosphere. It's a little too much for me. That's not the most disturbing factor of hyper-individualism. I think hyper-individualism has ruined the United States, will continue to do so. It will be its downfall. And I see hyper-individualism as a real reason as to how Trump got elected in the first place. Hear me out. Hyper-individualism is so centered on the single individual and their success and their freedoms, and it is no longer about the greater good, collective problem solving, community, things like that. And I think it's great that, you have the freedom to get out of your economic status and so forth, but in reality, it's like those people who can get out of poverty or get out of the situation is because they have the resources, they had opportunities, they had access, and not everybody is so privileged. So the inequality doesn't allow for people to be entrepreneurs and innovative and pull themselves up by their bootstraps. This mentality is just really a false dream that is sold to Americans. And on top of it, of this like owning your own house, owning this and owning that, and it's all based in consumerism, how much you can collect for yourself, how much wealth, how much shit you can collect, and it's like some huge competition, some huge game that everybody's playing. I might be getting way ahead of myself. I think hyper-individualism in the United States has caused the isolation that it has, people to believe their own facts. It has caused a culture of competition instead of cooperation. I feel like an accidental American because I am not on board for this hustle culture, this idea that obtaining wealth and material items is the ultimate like goal in life. I am interested in living a good quality of life. Of course, I would never say no to money. The idea that you don't want to obtain a comfortable income because you're against like the craziness of capitalism, the superficiality of capitalism, the hyper-individualism that comes from it. It's like, oh, you just want to live out on the land, away from civilization. And like, I used to think people who want to live out in the middle of nowhere are like crazy, but the more I live in the United States, I understand that's not the case. I do want to live amongst others. I want to have community. I want to live in a place where I can socialize or at least interact on a friendly daily basis with the people that are part of my community, that live around me. I care about the future of the country and the stabilization of it, and people being able to achieve their full potential and live good quality lives. And socialism provides that equity, that quality of life for people to, reach their dreams, get out of whatever situation that they're in, because there are options, there's safety nets, there are communities, there are people that care about more than themselves. And I do think, yes, like self-care is important, but it's become something that is sold to you instead of something that is like you create in your life through community, through relationships, through experiences, through like living a real life, instead of this like buy, pose kind of lifestyle, kind of culture. And the exclusivity of it all, of like just separating people. This country is on such a far spectrum, the haves and the have-nots, and Americans go touring around the world calling other places third world countries. Have you taken a look at Arkansas? Have you taken a look just around your neighborhood? I'm sorry, but you got to stop poo-pooing on other countries and acting like there's this American exceptionalism going on, because it's not. People are hungry, people are homeless, people are out of their minds because of the culture that has been made to make people believe that if they can't get out of their situation, they're just a horrible, no good, very bad person, and there's nothing good about them, and that's why they can't achieve a livable paycheck. I don't want to live in a culture that gets upset, that people get upset that somebody's got something that, do you need shelter? Do you need food? Does your kid need to eat at school? It's like, it's not even bothering you, but you want to spend money on Vance's vacations. He's been on like 8 vacations in the time that he's been vice president. We're all paying for. We're paying for renovations in the White House to paint everything gold so that Trump feels, at home in his own tacky abode or whatever. It's ridiculous. We'll spend money on wars. We'll send money to Israel. We'll send money to ICE, whatever. But for the betterment of people in your community, for the betterment of children's education, for their nutritional needs, for their mental, physical needs, we can't do that because they might get ahead of my kid who's in private school, who has, a nanny, who it's not a culture that makes me proud to be a part of, to be honest. To be so self-absorbed and so anti-human, it's not for me. I don't want to live in a culture that doesn't believe in science, that doesn't believe in reality, because everybody's living in their own bubble and believing their own things. It is all fun and games until people start popping up with diseases that we thought were no longer an issue. Just the safety of everybody is put in peril because a few, it seems like quite a lot at this point, since we are where we are here in this moment. So it's not a few, but it's like, how can this be that people don't believe in science any longer? And it's that hyper-individualism, and I can't see anything else besides that being the main factor as how this, people became QAnon believers and things like that. They all just stay in their echo chambers. There's like a lack of depth and a lack of shared cultural literacy, that people are just flat and almost without personality, and there's a disconnect with everybody because it's just everybody's living in their own world. There isn't any way to bring people together. It's a really hostile environment, and it's like, I choose no, thank you. I choose no. And it's like people are just superficially unique that it's exhausting. It's eye roll inducing. Everybody's out for themselves. Things are very transactional. Everything feels like a scam because everybody's trying to get over on everybody because they want, to be the richest, the fairest, the most beautiful one of them all. It's exhausting. I feel like Americans need to examine themselves, and I know that I've looked at myself and been like, wow, okay, still I do have these individualistic tendencies, take on a lot of responsibility for my success in life, and I don't stop to look at the situation or the environment in which I was born in and raised in, and how that has an effect on where I am in life or how my life turned out and things like that. It's a very American thing that it's all on you, and I'm not saying that I do believe in self-reliance, and I do believe that you can work hard and you can obtain good things in life, and I'm not saying that it's all pointless. It's not at all, and I hate that this nowhere for nuance, and it's always got to be to an extreme, and it's not like that for me. And I do believe people have to go out there, the able-bodied people that can do, they should go out there, contribute to society, make an income, build a professional career, or at least have a job that, you're contributing to your household. It's I don't want to be let's all live on a commune and stuff. It's not like that. It's just that I don't understand why we're acting like anybody can go through life alone and without support, without resources and access and opportunities to become whatever it is that they become. And providing this, because it's a wealthy country, you should be able to provide everybody a good quality standard of life. And beyond that, this hyper-individualism has squashed any conversation of socialism that can be had in this country, because people are just so fixated on no one having more than they do, a leg up, an open door, or whatever, even though it happens every day for rich people or well-connected people, influential people. It's not a problem. We accept that, but we don't want to be like, hey, let's give the less privileged an opportunity to have a good quality of life. And it's just, it blows my mind. The hatred is just, it's just not, it's not cool, and I don't want to live in it. And I think it's as simple as that. And so I see hyper-individualism as what's ruining this country, what ruined this country. And until people stop and say, wait a second, like, there is so much more power in our community to make our lives better, I don't know why we're fucking around. So until that epiphany comes, I don't see it. I see America eating themselves, because it's eat or be eaten. There's real data to show that upward mobility in the United States is much lower than other Western cultures, many of its peer nations, if you will. A Pew Research study in 2020 showed 43% of Americans born in the bottom 20% of the income distribution remain there as adults. Only 4% make it to the top 2%. Other data shows that the US has lower intergenerational mobility than countries like Denmark, Canada, and Germany. Wealth concentration, the top 1%, now about 32% of US wealth, making it harder for others to catch up. Entrepreneurship and self-reliant ventures often require capital, safety nets, or time, luxuries the working class rarely has. So this idea from rags to riches in a capitalism, highly individual culture is just a really false dream that's sold to people. But they, went and bought their houses in the suburbs where there is no real community. You may know your next door neighbor, you may know the guy across the street, because there's something that happened that caused you to interact. But for the most part, the people on your street are purely strangers. And because it's not a walkable community, there's no, bookstore or bars, restaurants, things of that nature that are you walk and you see people within your community hanging out. No, you get in your car and you drive somewhere, and you may be driving in a complete different neighborhood. You may never see your neighbors that live down the street from you, because there isn't a sense of community when you're living in a suburb and everybody's got their own little plot or whatever, and it's just very isolated. I love that in America you can let your freak flag fly. You can find a group of people that are you can get so niche, you can get so down to some really quirky kind of thing. And I'm glad that people can find community, but it's also isolated people to stay in their own echo chambers. There is also research to show that this isolation, this all about yourself, gaining for yourself, it breeds violence, it breeds crime. Guns is our right to protect ourselves or whatever. So selfish that children every year lose their lives because people are unwilling to lean up a little bit on their freedom to have a gun. It's hyper-individualism, I have the right to own this weapon and protect myself. But I hear very little stories of a good guy with a gun. I hear a lot of stories of innocent people at movie theaters, at concerts, at schools, anywhere, grocery stores, it doesn't matter, churches, being slaughtered. But Americans will not let go of this individual freedom attitude for the betterment of children. So that really turns me off. On the list, that makes number one, hyper-individualism, how terrible it is. If you just look at that one thing, you can realize, whoa, kids have been terrified to go to school because Americans can't get over themselves enough to lean up or loosen up a little bit over their freedom so that we can protect children. It's just all about me. And it just trickles down from there for me. So it's just how Americans act when they're out in public. It's how they act in politics. It's how they act in sports. It's just so hyper aggressive, so selfishly devoted to one person individual. It's how do you expect to coexist when everybody's got main character energy, everybody thinks that they're terribly interesting, unique, and special, and that if, you get something that doesn't even matter to them, they're pissed off about it because you have something that they don't have. And it's like, you don't even care about this. It's not disrupting your life at all, but that somebody's getting something that you didn't get, you can't handle it. It's so immature. It drives me nuts, and I can't stand it. Mind-blowing to me. Instead of wanting to live a quality of life and have everyone live a quality of life, they are just, nope, like only the elite should have. And if you can't provide a quality of life for yourself, that's your own problem. It's your own cross to bear. Like, live on the streets, we don't care. Your children are hungry, they can't read, don't care. Since this culture emphasizes self-reliance and personal justice, like stand up for yourself, don't let anybody treat you this type of way, and the amount of times I have seen like altercations because, they don't like the way somebody spoke to them or looked at them or whatever. I've never seen this type of aggression anywhere else that I've traveled. And okay, I haven't seen the entire world, but it's just like, it is on another level here. I've been to a lot of places around Europe. I've been to Thailand. I've traveled a lot in the United States, and I just find there's no aggression like American aggression. People want ultimate respect, and they get like, they think someone has stepped out of line in some way, of like talked to them a certain type of way. It's just like the amount of time sucked up trying to stand there and tell somebody about yourself is like, it's disrupting to everybody around, because now we got to deal with this like aggression, this yelling. It's just too much. It's too much. And I don't know why people want to live like this. Some of the things that I miss desperately from Germany is every season there's a fest in all the towns, all the communities, all of the towns, all of the cities, all the communities have a fest. And it's like the local sports clubs or the local clubs doing a lot of the vending. Like, so they're making drinks or preparing food or selling handmade items or whatever in those towns. And the cities, it can be commercialized in some places, but a lot of it is community-based. Like, it's built by the community, the citizens in that community. It's run by the citizens of that community. It's attended by the citizens of that community. And you see people, you may not know their names, but you see them all the time. And it's a really nice thing to sit down and break bread with people in your community, your neighbors. It's a fun experience, and there's no violence. Nobody's pulling out a gun because someone's had too much to drink and their feelings got hurt. And now they're, showing what a big macho man they are by pulling out a gun. It's just that I miss those kind of community, like, wholesome events that are just seriously lacking in the United States. And I've been to some of these fests and things or whatever, and they don't bring community together. There's no places to sit together to eat or whatever. Usually you got to buy something and stand off in the corner and eat something, or walk and eat. It's complete chaos. There's no order. Everybody's cutting in front of everybody. Everybody's acting a fool. It's me first. It's unpleasant. It's an unpleasant experience. There's no line. People are just standing. It's complete chaos. And maybe that's, the German in me, that I like order. I like people who follow the rules. And like, Americans are just like, they only follow the rules if it is beneficial to them, and they'll break any rule to get what it is that they want. And it creates chaos. If everybody's breaking the rules, if everybody's doing what they want and going out the lines of social norms, then it's just chaos. And I don't want to live like that. Into hyper individualism, it's just really ruined communities as well as individuals in their isolation and in their lack of care for other people, and having just this one goal of getting enough wealth so that they can oppress people. They'll still be oppressed, but at least they can oppress other people and feel powerful. It's like, if you can get wealthy enough to oppress other people, you've won. Trump really won his election with hyper-individualism, being the culture that he made a bunch of white men feel that they were going to be without. Other communities or other groups of people were going to be getting things that, and they weren't going to be getting shit. And it's like, like white men have already gotten enough. It's like they're good to go. They have the privilege and like they've got it all sorted out. So like they cannot share. That it's impossible in this individualistic culture. And laws and social norms work best when like everybody's on board. And the social norms of like people just acting however they want to, what has bred this like athleisure wear. Personally, I have problems with it. I don't care for it. I don't like this idea that people just walking around in gym clothes and it's this hyper individualism, like I can do whatever I want. And I understand you've spent a crap load of money on these clothes and you want to get your wear out of them, but it's just like it's just like there's a time and a place for things. And now people just wear athleisure wear to every place, to brunch, to the grocery store, to whatever. And it's like, oh, under the guise it's comfortable, and clubbing clothes are coming out at brunch, at family functions. I mean, it's just like it's always a wave of like titties and butt cheeks hanging out. And like, let your freak flag fly when you're at the club. There's a place and a time for everything. But coming to like a family event with booty shorts on, or like flaunting your fun bags at a family event is just like wild to me. And it's like, oh, but if you say anything about it, it's like oppressing women. And it's just like, it's not. It's just that like there just isn't a reason for you to dress in such a way. And it comes to a point where it's disrespectful, and like the way that people dress to funerals and to weddings and things like that. It's because I'm an individual and I can dress however I want to, and you can't tell me nothing, and this, that. And you have to learn to read a room and understand that there's a time and a place for everything, and booty shorts are not for everywhere. Maybe not a big deal, and people are like, you're a prude, or you're trying to shut people down. And it's like, no, like I don't appreciate the way guys just like roll in with t-shirts and jeans into nice restaurants, or like sweatshirts. It's just have some pride about yourself. But this also, it's the hyper individualism that I can do whatever I want, when I want, how I want. So to conclude this rambling rant, I accept that this is the way that the United States is. It's obvious that Americans are happy with the way things are. I don't see a lot of change in the respect of thinking outside of oneself and being concerned with the country as a whole instead of one's individual bank account, which is fine. I think that people should have ambition, be self-reliant. There are a lot of good things from an individualistic culture. With everything in America has no nuance, and it's just the extreme. And for me, it's just not the kind of lifestyle and culture that I want to live in. And that's my prerogative, girl. And I'm sticking to it. And I just value different things. What I see as a quality of life is much more cohesive, much more understanding, much more orderly, and more of an understanding of humanity. Nobody's doing it perfectly, but there seems to be countries with a lot less that are able to provide their citizens with a standard quality of life for them to be able to thrive in their lives and not just survive. And hyper-individualism, I believe, has driven this culture to a point of maybe possibly no return. And it's not my place as a single individual to tell Americans how to live. And I'm not gonna preach as to say that I know what is best for everybody. I know what's best for me, and what's best for me is not living in the United States. Is like, I don't get into the culture of like getting the bag, and it is not my dream to own my own house so that I can be like, this is mine, even though I'm continuously paying property tax and whatever, and it's not built well. It doesn't matter. I don't appreciate a culture that is more concerned with themselves than children who are defenseless and need a community to help them. Not even just children, just people down on their luck, people who didn't get a fair shake in life. I just think it's a travesty to not care at all about the future of your country and also about your own quality of life. This is a stressful quality of life. My personal belief is that hyper-individualism breeds the violence, breeds the isolation, choice of choosing which facts to believe or choosing what world you want to live in. And so there's no cohesion. And Americans can pride themselves on the individualism all they want, but it's just to an extreme that it's to their own detriment. I just don't want to play the game. And I leave you with a book that changed my perspective, kept me focused on the things that are most important in life and where true happiness lies. It's data backed, so it may not appeal to some, but The Little Book of Lykke, the Danish search for the world's happiest people. It's written by a CEO of the Happiness Research Institute in Copenhagen, or Copenhagen, however you, tomato. It's a really enlightening book about how important community is, the work-life balance, how material items and wealth is not a true factor in happiness. Like, yes, wealth buys comfortability and can buy you things, but it's like all that excess is not necessary. It just really, I mean, whatever tickles your titties, sure, you can spend your money on however you like, and that can be happiness. But this book really points out with data, with research, how to essentially quantify happiness and what truly makes people happy, live fulfilling lives, feel good, feel joy, feel excited. I mean, life is rough as it is. You're gonna get sadness, you're gonna get death, you're gonna get hard times. Why not create the best environment you can? That's why I'm so repulsed, turned off by hyper-individualism, because it completely misses the plot. It's like way off. The priorities are all wrong.